Living the good fat life with your host Karen and Sherri. They'll help everything align for your body, soul, and mind. The good fat life, whether change comes slow or dramatically. The good fat life will help you sort things out organically.
Loving the song every time.
I know. And actually, I find we're talking about being in the moment, right? To just be there with that song. It's almost, it takes me to another place, right?
Yeah, it makes me feel like Karen and Sherri are going to help us figure it out and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, along with yes.
And organically, right?
And organically, exactly.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting week. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year too,
Well,
right?
yeah.
Here we are at the end of the year. Yeah.
Too. And that's funny that you bring up the word organically, because I was having a conversation with a client earlier, and we're finding that we'll just kind of jump right in,
Sure.
right? It's just that there's a desire, if you will, for people to have conversations on a deeper level, and not like creepy deep or like bare your, it's not like bare your soul. It's more like to explore in an organic and a safe way why we're feeling certain ways or why we do certain things. And I'm not articulating it well.
No, I get what you mean. Somebody asked me yesterday, I said, I learned a few new things today. And then they asked me, well, what did you learn? And I was like, cosmically or here on Earth? Right? But I feel like people are sort of like wanting to connect and do things in a deeper, intentional way. They don't just want to like buy something from somebody. They want a relationship with like their pet food person. Like they want to form relationships and be aligned with people and these kind of things. Is that what you're finding?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you say that. In that way, there's an event that I've got coming up in March, and I want to dress for it, and I don't know what it looks like, right? But I want it to be a really special dress. And one of the comments with one of my friends who's really into fashion said, just start looking for the companies that you're aligned with. That when you look at what they do, who they are as a company and the fibers they choose and et cetera, that just resonates with who you are. And I'm finding that just even how I spend my time, like, if I'm going to sing in the local choir, if I'm going to read a book or whatever, how does that feel in the bigger picture? Right. And I'm finding that people are all around me are asking, and like I said, it's not like bare your soul. It's more just a deeper question. It's like, what do I care about?
Yeah. And I think because of COVID and we were secluded and now we're kind of all coming back out, but there's always still a threat like we might have to be all shut back in. It's like people are really thinking like, I want to take my time and I want to do the right thing because we don't know we can't take anything for granted anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the time is now to really sort of sort out what you're doing in your life, and to kind of like, who are you and why are you here kind of thing. I think people are really thinking those big questions.
Yeah. And on a smaller, just more, the vegetable that I eat right now is like, what is this actually providing for my body? So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
It's been actually fascinating. And I'm finding each day is like full of these miracles if we stop and pay attention.
Well, we were talking about before we went on the Course in Miracles, and she quoted that old commercial, I could have had a V8, right?
Yeah, right.
And a V8 is like a healthy drink. And she said, I could have had a miracle. And oftentimes we assume something or attach a story to it when really we're not even saying what's happening. So I've been really trying to be aware of the messages I'm getting and being open to it. And really is fascinating how really everything you need and want sort of shows up in your environment if you don't deflect it and you really open your eyes. And I think people are looking for that too.
And even those things that are painful, stopping and saying, I read something the other day. It's like, and it said that these things are showing up not to piss you off, excuse my language, but really to free you, because if we can, when something really does irritate, if we can stop and just say, what's going on here? There's a gift there. Right?
Always.
There's a gift there always. Yeah. And it's so easy. We're so conditioned to just be irritated or mad or upset, and then throw that on the other person when it's really our stuff. And it's like, what is going on here?
It really is showing up to help you get to your highest, best self, right?
Right.
Always.
Right.
There's a great line in a movie that's in the movie Junebug. This girl says to her boyfriend, she says, Jesus loves you so much, but he loves you too much to let you stay that way. And I always think of that myself that way too. Jesus loves me just the way I am. However, he loves me too much to let me stay this way.
That is hysterical.
Right. So you can put universe, your wife, whoever you want to put in there, but it's true, right? Yeah. Like your feedback.
That is great. Yeah.
Your feedback kind of is what you need to work on, right? Like if you keep being the common denominator in that situation,
right?
You probably got to work on that. Yeah. And we don't like to look at that.
No. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. So anyways, so those little things are popping up. And again, it feels good. It feels good because I'm feeling, I don't know, that there's a hope. There's hope in a way that's just so big and so much possibility as we're moving through what's going on in our world.
And don't you feel like there's a more of a richness to life now because we are really living in a contrast of how life looks right now, because there's a lot of sad things going on, like sort of tangentially in the universe, and people are passing away and things are happening in the world. But then we're all we're trying to get like solid on the earth at the same time. So it feels really good, Like there's so many things going on.
That richness.
Yeah,
I do. I think that there's the opportunity for more richness.
And we had a really interesting, vivid example of that last week. We were in a meeting, and unfortunately, someone had to leave because of COVID. And it really was a glaring example of how life goes on, and we need to live to the fullest because people are passing away all around us. You know what I mean? And so we need that richness and live life to the fullest. And people are literally leaving meetings and burying their friends and coming back, and you got to be in every moment, and great things are going on too, but it's just like, you got to balance it.
Yeah.
So much
right.
things,
and finding that balance. And I find, for music has always been a big part of my life. And I'm not musical, right? But one thing that's been such a gift for me is being able to use my business skills, working with companies that are musical, with the National Arab Orchestra and with the Livingston County Choirs right here in our own county. And so it's finding those ways where you can be part of, you can bring, and that's one thing that's been so much fun too lately is collaboration and creating with people where, and recognizing that we all bring these different pieces. And when we can get our egos out of the way, right? And we can appreciate your gift and your skill and my gift and my skill, and how we can create something that's so much bigger than all of us.
Right. And I think the most important thing is the awareness of what they are, right? So I keep getting messages like, figure out what your purpose is and what your gifts are and go with that. Like, what lights you up, the people that light you up, the places, the things. Keep looking, searching in those places. That's where you're going to find like your purpose and your strengths. So I feel like a lot of people are doing that too. They're not just like moving through the world, like, they don't want a 9-to-5 job anymore, that they're just kind of drilled. They're really thinking about living their life in the way that they want to live it.
In the way that, and that's just exciting.
Yeah.
Right. And
really
it's cool. And it's not like oh, look at me, I'm so special. It's like, it's like a humbleness in a way, right?
That's a perfect way to say it, because I think before COVID, we were all kind of like fat and happy. Like, nothing's going to happen to us. We don't really need to change. Everything is great. And I think now it's so humbling because we realize, no, we all have to make an effort and show up as our best selves. And it's not just like, we'll just like goof off today, but every single moment is intentional and important, because a lot of people don't even get to be here anymore. So we really have to find out who we are and who we are on earth and why we're still here, you know? And I think a lot of people are sort of, you know, gravitating to that.
Yeah. And letting go of the material stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not that, but I like material stuff, you know?
I think,
but it's changed.
yeah, well, they say wealth is the new, kindness is the new wealth, right? Yeah. And abundance is the new, you know, finances. Like, you just want to be abundant so you can provide for all the things you want to do in your life and whatever that looks like, you know?
Right.
So I think people are just changing their thoughts and their minds and really getting into like the crux of who they are and who they want to be around, you know?
Well, and the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like our magazine, our Mistletoe
magazine.
Mashup.
Yeah.
Mistletoe magazine Mashup.
Say that 3 times fast.
So
Yeah.
it's just so interesting how this has kind of evolved,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
But I'm so excited about it. So for our listeners, we are bringing the magazine to life.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't want the magazine to be just one-dimensional, right? So we're going to bring it to life. And we're having a Mistletoe magazine mashup.
On December 12th.
On December 12th, it's here in Brighton from 2 to 4.
At the Brighton Yoga Center.
At the Brighton Yoga Center. And it is, we're limited to 45 people. So
It's filling up fast.
Yeah. And it's Eventbrite. And to find out about it, you can go to our QR code or
Facebook. Look on Facebook.
look on Facebook.
Our
Yeah.
Facebook page.
So, but the thing I'm so excited, I am so excited about it. I can hardly stand it. Right?
Yeah.
Is that, so it's not, we're intentional about creating something that's not just, oh, look at these glossy pictures and this like, I don't, sometimes when we write or whatever, we can present like it's all perfect and shiny and it's not, it's human.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so our intention is to create community and have the people in our community share with each other and celebrate with each other and commiserate with each other, right?
Yeah, and to show, like, it really is fun, the things we have in our magazine. Like, I'm really excited about trying out the recipes and doing the activities and stuff. It really is going to be fun, you know?
It is. It's fun. It's real. It's real talent, and it's tangible with all its imperfection. Right?
So if you guys if you guys want to come check it out, you can register on Eventbrite, and we're gonna have shopping, pop-up shop, activity, recipes, delicious food,
good
and
fat food,
good fat food, yeah, it's gonna be fun,
and some movement. We're gonna
speakers,
play and some inspired speakers, and
we're going to announce our ambassador program and to thank our loyal ambassadors and also kind of like work with each other in the community. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. And we'll be talking more about the 60-day happy that's starting in January.
Yeah. I keep trying to pick my song that I'm going to dance to. You can change it every day, right? It can be any song.
You can change it every hour.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that's been fun playing with that too, right?
Yeah. I've really been dancing a lot, and I got some good moves, I got to say. Isn't that funny? Like when you dance by yourself, you're like, oh, I could really actually get into this. But then somehow when you get in front of people, it's like,
well, there's some music I was listening to yesterday and just experimenting with different playlists, right? And
that's important.
And it's just so interesting how some music, your body just has to move. And other music, you just kind of want to more quiet. But my grandkids are quite the dancer.
Yo, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Especially my 18-month-old granddaughter. Oh, she loves to dance.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun.
And they're ballerinas too, aren't they?
Oh, the older ones are.
Yeah.
Little older ones are.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
It is. So that's going to be, that's a week from Sunday. Oh my gosh.
I know.
And then the 60-day happy is.
So tell us more about the 60-day happy challenge. I know we're really excited about that.
It's 60 days. I mean, of happy.
Mm-hmm.
And and so there'll be movement component, and there is an inspirational component, a meditative component, a challenge. I mean, it has to be a challenge, a physical challenge, and which is good because I told you, I think I've told you, I'm measuring everything now. I'm measuring my ketones, my blood sugar, my weight.
Is that because of Weight Watchers mostly, or just
no,
the whole thing?
I've just wanted to really understand my body on a deeper level, and it's been fascinating. But so yes, and I told you I started Weight Watchers, and I'm learning a lot about the food I eat. I eat way too many dense, delicious, easy to grab foods. So I'm working on changing that. But I noticed on my numbers this morning that while I've lost 6 pounds,
congratulations,
3 of those pounds on this Waze scale app I have, it's showing that I've lost 3 pounds of muscle.
Oh,
And that is not good over the past year.
How does that happen? Just from atrophy? Or?
I think it's because, this last year we've just been sitting more. And even getting up, I've got timers to get up and remind me because I can sit forever.
Yeah.
But to run up and down the stairs and do stuff, it's just not enough. And I realized that this morning, and that was like alarming. And encouraging to say, okay, well, I know this, so what am I going to do differently? So
yeah, I've really been getting into. I want to be as strong as I can. I really realized during COVID, especially, I didn't put much stock into being physically fit or having my children be physically fit or athletic. I wanted all of us to be healthy. But I really realized how important it is to be of service to yourself and to others, to be really as healthy as you can be and as strong as you can be.
And strength is part of that, right?
Yeah. So I'm really working on just being the strongest I can be, and just sort of working out and doing different things. So it's kind of fun and exciting. And I think at 52, I finally have the right mindset about it. I used to always go to the gym and just be like, I hate this. But now I'm just like, oh, I can take it in increments. I'm getting stronger. It's just, I totally changed my mindset. Now it's just kind of fun,
Right. And it's also such a gift. Really? I mean, it's such a gift,
really.
The privilege that we can move with strength, and especially as we age, because there's so much stuff to do.
Well, how about this? It's a privilege to be able to do things to tire yourself out and work out. Women in different countries and people in different countries, and people in this country, they don't have the time, the money, or they're not able to do those things. It's really a privilege to be able to do a lot of those things. Like, a lot of women don't have time to even be tired from the things that they enjoy doing, right? They're just tired from
the stuff they have to do to get through the day.
Going to get clean water or whatever, So we are so fortunate. Yeah.
Right. It's all a mindset.
Yeah.
So that said, one of the things I was looking at is, it's December.
Yeah.
We're coming towards the end of the year, and some reflection. So we didn't do this, really. We didn't, at the beginning of 2021, ask ourselves or our audience. I'm sorry, that's not true. We did, but we didn't do it on the air.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
So what might it look to set an intention for 2022? Excuse me. So let's kind of throw that out, and here's some questions that we might want to ask for what you want for 2022, or to reflect on a year from now.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to say it's now 2022, December of 2022, and the questions we're going to ask ourselves are, how have you grown over this past year? Right. So how have you grown? Have you been able to live out your intentions? And so that, to me, is a huge one. It's like, visualize what it is that you want to create. And I know if you asked us individually, we would be able to say, yeah, there's a lot of things. Like we were talking about, it's like we don't feel like, talk about the chapter.
Oh, yeah. How you want to start a new chapter in a book, but you really should start a new book, right?
Right. So talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I always what I forgot what I said.
Oh,
I know I'm having a brain melt.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, I said for 2022, I'm not starting a new chapter in my book for 2022. I'm starting a whole new book.
Right, exactly.
And then we were talking about, because what's the story we want to bring with us?
Oh yeah,
right?
thank you.
It's a new story.
I'm remembering now. So yeah, I said like I find it fascinating where people start their story. And usually people start their story as something like a negative or a tragedy that happened in their life. And I always wonder why. And for me, I just went through a lot of changes. And I just realized in the last few days, I'm not starting my story there anymore. I'm starting it from this healing, new, positive place. And that feels exciting and exhilarating. So I'm starting my story at a completely different place than I even started it like 2 weeks ago. So that feels really good, and to notice the shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of having to, it's like you're letting go of all, and it's not. I think it's not.
Where did you used to start your story? Because I feel like when we first met, you probably started your story at a different spot than you do now.
I did. I did, but I've changed it.
Yeah, and I know,
right?
and I can just think, just from what you've told me, one of the things were like not necessarily negative, but it wasn't a positive either. And I don't think you start your story there either. I remember you were saying like you when you moved to Ohio, you had some health issues, and it seemed like you started your story there. I don't think you do that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And what was the shift, do you think? The intentional,
intentional. But that's not my where my life is anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
It's not where my. And so I begin every day and end every day with what is it that I'm creating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that, to your point, it's starting that new book.
Yeah.
Every day and every night in its way, instead of like having to overcome the previous books.
Well,
and not that they were bad.
No.
I don't, because they help. They
You
allow us to be who we are.
Yeah,
right?
you can open those and reread them sometimes, but then put it back down. But
No,
Maria, right? Some are
right.
bad.
Yeah.
Maria Montessori, she said the best gift we can give to others and ourselves is to see them and ourselves as new, and that is truly,
that's interesting.
Yeah, truly a gift to see yourself and others as new, not drag all that back. And really, anything's possible. If you just wake up new, a clean slate every day, really anything's possible.
And and we get to choose. We always get to choose. I love that. I love my kids. My youngest are my son's kids are in Montessori school, and I'm just blown away with the things that they learn. It's not just what they're learning, but it's their excitement about learning, right?
Yeah.
It's just so fun.
Yeah, I love Montessori schools. I used to have my own Montessori school, and I highly recommend it. It's a little bit of an outlier, but it's definitely a beautiful philosophy for children and sort of following their inner guide. And it's lovely to see children have that experience,
Well, and that was one of the beautiful things about my parents, who are still, they're both in their 80s and doing amazingly well. My parents are such of my heroes.
No, that's
right
great.
For who they are individually, and my grandpa. The day before my grandfather passed away, he would have been 90, almost 90. He was telling me about a recipe he saw for cooking a roast that was so inspiring to him, and he hadn't been able to cook a roast probably in 10 years in his own home, right?
Yeah.
But he was so excited about this idea, and at the end of the day, it's those ideas that excite us, right?
Yeah.
And I just love that lifelong learning, and I'm seeing it in my grandkids, their love of learning. So anyways.
So, all right, so what's the question?
No, but so we're talking about our new book. So every day could be a new book, right? So what practices helped you prioritize your mental and emotional health?
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'm really learning about is with food, right? Is what is the intersection between eating healthy or eating well in a way that best supports my body and convenience? Because it takes a lot of time to buy vegetables and to clean them and to chop them and to cook them, or it takes a lot of time. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that it's a reality.
Yeah.
and the lifestyle I've lived over years and years is not conducive for that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm shifting,
Mm-hmm.
how to incorporate it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll let you know if I figure that out. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a year from now,
A year from now, hopefully I'll have that answer.
I want to say,
yeah.
oh, piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is a really good structure to think about things this way, because a lot of times we just make these sweeping statements. We want to be healthier. We want to do it. But really, this is making you really think, set up your life in such a way that you can do this, right?
Right.
And you back into it.
Well, and one of the things I had gotten Noom,
Mm-hmm.
that app, and so one of the things, it just helped me. It helped raise my awareness about the food I eat,
Mm-hmm.
and how it's just got to be kind of like grab and go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cheese is very grab and go,
I love
right?
cheese, yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it's easy to eat a lot of
Only
cheese
thing
quickly.
I ever have at my house, I always can make a charcuterie board. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easy and it's fast, but it can also be very calorie dense.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyways.
And that processed food, that does add up to like a weight gain over years and years. It really does.
Yeah.
So it's important to have unprocessed food as much as possible.
And so anyways,
Yeah.
it's just, asking those questions and reflecting kind of on how to make, and we've talked about it before, that just one tiny degree change. But if you do that regularly, you have huge changes.
Yeah. What have you found that's been the biggest change for yourself? Because you've done a lot of like, I know you were doing the fruit, the 7 to 9 serving,
Vegetables.
fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
You're doing keto. Now you're doing other things. So
yeah, it's all kind of and that's why I'm loving Weight Watchers, is because it incorporates all of that under one umbrella, and I can still have wine.
there you go. Yeah, you can still have a V8 too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So anyways,
yeah.
Lots of cool things. I think as we're going into, or I'd like to invite, our listeners as we go into 2022, just to be intentional, to stop and think about what is it that you want to say, how you've grown over this past year. How have you been able to live out your intentions, and what are those intentions?
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to have this conversation a year from now.
Okay. Yeah.
And see where we are.
Okay. I'm in.
So
Yeah.
speaking of that, we want to acknowledge one of our.
We want to acknowledge one of our great ambassadors and sponsors, Kokopelli's Corner in Howell, Michigan. It's 111 Grand River Avenue, and they are a great sponsor of ours. They are a spiritual, she considers herself sort of a spiritual gateway store where people can come and get their crystals, anything you need for spirituality or sort of trying to find like your purpose. You name it, she has. It's a beautiful store. It's a beautiful experience. So
and she's got wonderful tea and candles and jewelry and incense and
books.
So the sound bowls are gorgeous.
And then she has Reiki healing, sound bath healing, which you and I both did, which was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
very eye-opening.
Yeah, for sure. So check it out, Kokopelli's Corners in Howell, Michigan.
Yeah, so thank you to them.
Yeah, thank you.
So I guess
it's time to live our good fat life. We have a lot to think about, don't we?
We do have a lot to think about, and we have a lot to do to be ready for our mashup.
Yeah. So you guys make sure if you see it on Facebook or you get the email, make sure you click on the registration. There are only 45 slots available. It is filling up fast, and we look forward to seeing you guys there. And come dressed comfortably.
Comfortably, because we're going to play.
To move. Yep.
To move.
And play.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Yeah.
And be happy.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
All right. Come live the magazine, and we'll go live our good fat life.
Yes. See you next week.
Yeah.